Hey everyone, I just wanted to share something with you that has really helped me out recently, and I hope that it helps you too. Lately I've been reading in the Old Testament, and recently I read about when Samuel anointed King David to be the next king. So Samuel was in charge of finding the new king after Saul and anointing him and making him the next king. And so God told Samuel that the new king would be one of the sons of Jesse. So Samuel goes to Jesse's house. The only problem is Jesse has 8 sons. And so what Jesse does is he takes his 7 sons, the 7 older sons, the sons that were bigger and stronger and more experienced and who actually seemed like they maybe could be king, and he brings them out for Samuel to look at them. Leaving David behind. And he starts with the oldest, strongest, most king-like looking son. And as soon as Samuel sees this son, he says, this must be the guy. This is the new king. But it's interesting what God says to Samuel in 1 Samuel 16:7. He says this, "Do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." So the Lord wasn't looking for somebody who looked like a king. He was looking for someone with a heart that he could use as the next king. That God sees past the outward appearance and he sees into our hearts. Now, how has this helped me recently? Well, as many of you know, my wife and I just welcomed our second into our home. We have a newborn baby girl in the house just a couple weeks ago. And because we have a newborn and because my wife is still recovering from the delivery, I've taken the last couple weeks off work completely and have just been at home helping out with the baby. So I haven't been writing sermons. I haven't been talking to people. I haven't been going to meetings. I haven't been doing any of the normal work that I usually do. I traded all that in for just for a couple weeks for cleaning bottles and for feeding babies and for rocking babies and for changing diapers. And if I'm honest, over these past couple weeks, this nagging sorrow kept coming in over my heart. You know, I would just be sitting there and just feel this sorrow and this weight come in over my heart. And to be fair, some of that might be due to the fact that we have a newborn and I'm not sleeping except for a couple hours at a time. I'll give you that. But as I thought more about it and kind of looked more into what was going on in my heart, as I reflected on what was going on, I realized that something deeper was going on. I realized that this sorrow was drifting in because I felt insignificant. Because I had traded the more visible work for the less visible work of taking care, helping take care of these kids. And I was thinking about it, and maybe you're experiencing the same sort of feeling with everything that's going on with this pandemic. You know, maybe you've been laid off from your job because of the pandemic, or maybe your hours have been cut, or maybe you're still working but there's not a lot going on, or you're working from home and it's not the same and you're just not as productive. Now, I understand that not everybody can relate to this. Some of you are busier than ever because of the pandemic, but many of us aren't. And maybe you feel like how I felt, like with a decrease in productivity, you feel a decrease in significance. But what I found over the last couple weeks is I need to learn from this. That this sorrow that had come in over my heart from feeling insignificant was telling me that I made an idol out of my work. That I viewed my significance as based on what I could produce outwardly. And this doesn't make any sense when we think about God, when we think about who He is. I mean, no amount of work impresses God. He's God. And He sees through all of that. And it's a dangerous thing to make an idol out of our work, to make an idol out of our productivity. Now, why is that? Well, because there's going to be a day for all of us, Lord willing, when we can't be productive anymore. That day is coming for every single one of us, and we don't know when it is, but every day that goes by, we're one day closer to instead of other people relying on us relying on other people. And if we live long enough, it's going to happen. And so I thought, man, I need to learn this lesson now, that the Lord sees my heart, that my significance in God's eyes doesn't rise and fall with my productivity. And so I want to encourage you with that today, with this lesson that I learned, to take this and apply it to yourself. Maybe if this is a season that would be less productive from the outside, understand that the Lord sees our hearts. And we need to value what's going on in our hearts before the Lord more than what we're producing outwardly. And through that, if we value that more, we're going to find our significance in the Lord and not in our work, which one day will end, or which sometimes is frustrating, or which can be taken from us with a diagnosis or with a pandemic or through old age. And so I just want you to remember this morning that no matter how much things change, no matter how unproductive you might feel during this time, the Lord sees your heart. So value that relationship, value the state of your heart more than what you can see on the outside, more than what people can look in and see what's going on the outside. Value the state of your heart above all else. And as you do that, you'll insulate yourself from the sorrow that comes from feeling insignificant. I hope this was helpful, and I love you guys, praying for you guys, and hopefully we get to all see each other soon.